This is Joe again with another movie review, and the topic for this video I'm going to be discussing the 1992 movie A Few Good Men, was directed by Rob Reiner, meathead from All in the Family, and of course it stars Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, and Kevin Pollak as the three main characters, and also you have Jack Nicholson, the late J.T. Walsh, Keith Sutherland, and also has little scenes in there with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Noah Wyle from ER in this film. Excuse me. Of course, this movie is about two Marines who were accused of murdering a fellow Marine, and they were going through a court-martial. So, of all the law films that are out there, majority of them are dramas, of course. This is about the only one I can remember that actually deals with a military trial. You can say Judgment of Nuremberg, but that's a different kind of tribunal. That's not like military type form, and this one was. And of course, the lead attorney was played by Tom Cruise. And of course, his assistant was played by Kevin Pollak, and of course, he had Demi Moore as an attorney from Internal Affairs in the JAG Corps, which I think, in one way, this film inspired the television series JAG, because this movie made a boatload of money when it came out. I think I might be wrong, but I think it was nominated for Best Picture, because Jack Nicholson was nominated for I think supporting actor in this film, and he was a double nominee because he was nominated for this film, and he was also nominated for Best Actor for the Jimmy Hoffa movie he's going in. Well, of course, Jack Nicholson steals every movie that he was in, and he played the main, villain, because it was proven in court that the two Marines who was on trial were given an order, through the grapevine, because Jack Nicholson originally gave the order to Keith Sutherland, who was the superior officer of the two Marines who were on trial. So look, because the Marine that was killed was a lousy Marine. He wasn't cutting it. And of course, the Marine was wanting to transfer out of Guantanamo of Gitmo, which is of course Gitmo, which is of course in Cuba, and he wanted out. And the reason why he wanted out, as he said, he contacted the Naval Investigation Service, saying, "Look, if you get me out, if you apply my request for a transfer, I'll give you information of a fence line shooting." And the fence line shooting was one who illegally fired into Cuban territory. And the Marine was one of the two Marines who killed Willie Santiago. That was the name of the Marine that was killed. And of course, which gave them motive to kill this Marine. And of course, the two Marines said, "Look, that wasn't true. We were given an order." And said, "Who gave you the order?" And said, "Our Lieutenant Kendrick gave us the order." And Lieutenant Kendrick was the Keith Sutherland character. And of course, they hung him out to dry during the trial. And then of course, they figured, or Tom Cruise and Demi Moore figured out that, hey, I think maybe Colonel Jessup, the Jack Nicholson character, passed the all along to Keith Sutherland, who passed along to the two Marines. And said, "But we don't have any direct evidence on Jessup. We have nothing. We're going to testify. Yeah, we're going to testify, but we have no proof." So of course, the movie built up to this courtroom scene between Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise, and he was peppering him with questions that how come if his transfer was approved, if he approved his transfer off the base, then how come he was never packed? How come he didn't make any phone calls? Because they pulled his phone records, or Willie Santiago's phone records. And says, how come Trevor Santiago, how come he didn't make a phone call to his family or to his friends to come pick him up at the airport? How come he didn't call his family? Nothing. And Jack Nicholson says, well, can't explain that. And he said, well, why? That's because he wasn't being transferred, was he? And of course, actually, it was objected. Of course, the prosecuting attorney, which they left out, was played by Kevin Bacon. And he also did a great. All the acting was superb in this film. There was nobody who gave a lousy performance in this film. And of course, they said, oh, I don't know, I can't explain why he wasn't packed. You can't explain why he didn't make a phone call. Maybe he didn't have friends. Maybe he didn't have a family. And of course, Tom Cruise said something, oh, maybe because of the fact that he wasn't being transferred. And of course, that's when Jack Nicholson, of course, eventually comes up with the line, you want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want the truth? I want the truth. So you can't handle the truth. And of course, you can't handle the truth became one of the most quotable lines, in this film. Of course, for years after that, it was quoted. And of course, he eventually asked him, did you order the code red? Because the term code red was the fact that if a Marine wasn't doing what other Marines expected him to do, then Marines were taking it upon themselves to punish the guy. And that's what happened in this situation. He was being punished because he was contacting everybody to ask for a transfer. Instead of going to his commanding officer and then to the platoon leader or anything else, he skipped all those guys and he went directly to his congressman and contacted the NIS. And so of course they took it out on him, and eventually to the point where he was killed. So Tom Cruise says, did you order the code red? And of course, Jack Nicholson says, you goddamn right I did. And of course, he was the one who got arrested. And of course, what happens is, of course, the Marines, of course, they were acquitted of everything except for conduct unbecoming a Marine. And of course, the younger Marine says, "Oh, how come? What happened? How come we got off?" He admitted that he ordered the code red. How come we still got thrown out of the Marines for? And of course, the older Marine says, "Well, that's because we didn't stick up for Willie. We didn't stick up for him, and that's why we got kicked out." And of course, whereas the movie itself was a damn good movie. It held my interest through the whole film. And to say, of course, the really over the top performance was, maybe you could argue maybe Jack Nicholson, because at that point he was given a lot of over the top performances in his career. But that one is really over the top. And Jack Nicholson was only in maybe like 4 or 5 scenes of the whole movie. I remember pretty much the whole movie it had either Tom Cruise in the scene or Demi Moore in the scene. Either one practically throughout the whole movie. And of course, that's when Demi Moore was, smoking hot. And she's like, what, 51 years old now. She's still hot. And she looked good. She looked great in the Navy uniform. I'll tell you that right now. But as a film itself, I thought it was a very good film. And of course, when he got when Jack Nicholson admits that he did the code red, or he gave the order for it, of course, actually they had to take the jury out. And of course, Tom Cruise looks at Kevin Bacon, because Kevin Bacon's character is also supposed to be a Marine. a fellow Marine. And he says, Jack, and he couldn't utter a word because that Tom Cruise was right that Jack Nicholson gave the order to these guys. And of course, he was the one who got. I'm surprised that in the film that all the charges weren't dropped except for conduct unbecoming. I'm surprised they went through the process of reading the verdict at that point. Which, of course, I don't know how a military trial works because I know they did it just for the movie purposes, for a dramatic effect, or that's how a military court works. If anybody out there knows how a military court works, please feel free to comment, in the comment section, to set the record straight. Say, oh, that's how military works. They can't just outright dismiss it on a case like that. But that's what happened. And what I found out was, on Unsolved Mysteries, they did a story that was similar to what happened in A Few Good Men. And of course, A Few Good Men, which one thing I didn't point out yet, was that this movie was based on a play written by Aaron Sorkin, who of course later on would create the television series, which is like one of the most overrated television series of all time, which is The West Wing. And he created it. It was actually based on a stage play. But as a movie, I thought it was a damn good movie, one of the decent movies. Even though I don't like Bob Ryan's politics, he has made damn good movies. Hasn't made one lately, but he has made some decent films. And of course, he reviewed one previously. And reviewed When Harry Met Sally. But this is, I think, might have been one of the first. I think like the second drama he directed. He directed previously Stand By Me, which was a drama. But this one, I think A Few Good Men was Ralph Fiennes' most successful movie in the box office. Those are box office receipts. And with it, if you've never seen A Few Good Men, please either rent it through Netflix, or get the DVD, or I don't even know if it's a Blu-ray. Gets to this, but if you get a chance to get a copy of this movie, get it because it's well worth watching. It will hold your interest from beginning to end. So that's my review of A Few Good Men. Please check my, please rate the video. Please comment on. Please subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.